Right now, in this moment, I need you to make a decision. Not tomorrow, not after you finish this video and scroll to the next thing. Right now, before I say another word, I need you to decide whether you are going to sit with this message casually, let it wash over you like warm water, nod your head, feel something for a few minutes, and then return to the exact same life you were living before you press play. Or whether you are going to let what I am about to say actually reach you. Actually get inside the places you have been keeping locked. Actually challenge the version of you that has gotten comfortable with a life that is smaller than what you are capable of. Because what I am about to talk about is not comfortable. It is not designed to make you feel validated. It is not going to tell you that you are already doing enough, that the world is simply not recognizing your greatness yet, that your breakthrough is coming and all you need to do is wait. No! What I am about to tell you is this: you are broke and your bank account might be fine. You might have money in your pocket right now. But there is a specific kind of broke that has nothing to do with money and everything to do with the condition of your mind. And if you do not do the work, that mental broke will follow you into every financial upgrade, every new opportunity, every new relationship, every new chapter of your life. And it will quietly, systematically destroy everything you are trying to build. So stay with me, because this conversation has the power to change not just what you do, but who you are. And who you are is the only thing that ultimately determines what you will ever have. I want you to think about the last time you genuinely pushed yourself, not the last time you were forced to work hard because a deadline was threatening you, or a consequence was looming, or someone else's expectation was pressing down on you. I am talking about the last time you pushed yourself voluntarily, without external pressure, without an audience, without a reward waiting immediately on the other side. The last time you chose discomfort because you understood that the discomfort was the price of your becoming. When was that? If you have to think too long to find that moment, this message is for you. If that moment feels like it was a very long time ago, this message is for you. If the honest answer is that you cannot remember a time when you truly pushed yourself beyond what was comfortable without someone or something forcing you to, then you need to hear every single word I am about to say with both ears wide open and every defense mechanism powered down. Because here is the truth that nobody is talking about with the honesty it deserves. Most people are not broke because the economy failed them. Most people are not stuck because opportunity never knocked. Most people are not living below their potential because they lack the talent, the intelligence, or the raw material of greatness. Most people are broke, stuck, and living beneath their potential for one reason and one reason only: they are not doing the work. Not the visible work, not the work that gets documented and praised and acknowledged, the real work, the invisible work, the internal work, the work of building a mind that is capable of sustaining the life they claim to want, the work of confronting their own patterns with enough honesty to actually change them, the work of developing discipline so deeply rooted that it operates independently of how they feel on any given day, the work of becoming relentlessly and without apology the person their dreams require them to be. That work is not being done, and because that work is not being done, people remain mentally broke. And mental broke is the most expensive condition a human being can live in, because it costs you not just money, but time, potential, relationships, purpose, and ultimately the entire experience of a life fully lived. Let me explain what I mean by mentally broke. Mentally broke is not about your IQ. It is not about your education level. It is not about whether you had advantages or disadvantages growing up. Mentally broke is a condition of the mind that develops when the mind is left unfed, undisciplined, and unchallenged for long enough that it loses the ability to see beyond its current circumstances. It is the condition of a mind that has been so thoroughly saturated with limitation, negativity, small thinking, and comfortable excuses that it can no longer conceive of a different outcome without immediately generating 100 reasons why that outcome is not available to this particular person in this particular situation. And here is what is terrifying about mental broke. You can change your address and take it with you. You can get a better job and take it with you. You can enter a new relationship, move to a new city, start a new chapter, and take it with you. Because mental broke does not live in your circumstances. It lives in you. And until you do the work to dismantle it, upgrade it, and replace it with something that can actually carry your future, it will follow you into every new beginning and turn it into the same old story. I need you to sit with that, because most people spend their entire lives changing the externals. New job, same mindset. New relationship, same patterns. New opportunity, same sabotage. And they spend years wondering why nothing ever changes, when the thing that needs to change most is the one thing they are most reluctant to examine: their mind. The work begins in the mind, not on the calendar, not in the gym, not not in the bank account, in the mind, in the beliefs you hold about yourself and your possibilities, in the stories you tell yourself in the quiet moments about what you deserve, what is available to you, what you are capable of, in the internal dialogue that runs constantly, shaping your decisions before you are even consciously aware that a decision is being made. And doing the work on your mind requires something that modern culture has made incredibly unfashionable. It requires sitting with yourself in silence and being ruthlessly honest about what you find. Most people are terrified of their own silence. They fill every available moment with noise, music, podcasts, social media, television, conversation, constant stimulation. Not because they love noise, but because silence forces a confrontation with the self that they are not prepared to have. Because in the silence, the questions arise. Am I actually doing what I know I need to do? Am I living with integrity between what I say I want and how I am actually spending my time? Am I building, or am I performing the appearance of building while actually standing completely still? Those questions are uncomfortable, and discomfort for the mentally broke mind is a stop sign rather than a signal. But for the person who is willing to do the work, discomfort is the most valuable information available. It points directly at the place where growth is trying to happen and resistance is fighting to prevent it. Every area of your life that makes you uncomfortable when you examine it honestly is an area that is demanding your work, demanding your attention, demanding that you stop walking past it and start walking through it. Now I want to talk about the excuses, because everyone has them. And I am not saying that to be dismissive of your circumstances, because your circumstances are real. The challenges you face are real. The obstacles in your path are real. But I need you to understand something about excuses that most people have never been told directly enough to actually land. Your excuses are not protecting you from failure. They are protecting you from the attempt. And protecting yourself from the attempt is the most complete failure available to a human being, because it guarantees that the life you are capable of will never exist anywhere outside of your imagination. Think about the stories you tell yourself about why the work is not being done. I am too busy. I am too tired. I do not have the resources. The timing is not right. When things settle down, when the kids are older, when I have more money, when I have more time, when I feel more ready. These are not reasons. These are a sophisticated negotiation with your own potential, in which your potential always loses and your comfort always wins. And every time comfort wins that negotiation, the mentally broke condition deepens. Because the mentally broke mind is trained by every act of avoidance to believe that avoidance is the appropriate response to challenge. And over time, avoidance becomes the default setting, not a conscious choice, but an automatic reaction. And when avoidance becomes automatic, the life you are capable of becomes permanently inaccessible, not because it was never possible, but because the habit of not reaching for it has become more powerful than the desire to have it. That is a tragedy. And it is happening to more people than you know. It might be happening to you right now. So let me ask you directly, what work are you avoiding? What discipline have you been meaning to build but have not built? What book have you been meaning to read? What skill have you been meaning to develop? What conversation have you been avoiding that your growth requires you to have? What habit have you been promising yourself you would build since the beginning of this year, or last year, or the year before that? That thing, whatever just came to mind, that is where your work is. And the reason it keeps getting postponed is not that the timing is genuinely never right. The reason is that the work required to address it will demand something from you that you have not yet decided the outcome is worth. It will demand your time. It will demand your comfort. It will demand your pride in some cases. It will demand that you become a beginner again, that you be seen struggling, that you risk failing publicly, that you show up for a process without any guarantee of the outcome you are working toward. And that cost feels too high because the mentally broke mind has been trained to evaluate that cost against the temporary comfort of not paying it, rather than against the permanent cost of continuing to avoid it. But here's what I need you to understand about doing the work. Real work. Consistent, disciplined, invisible, unglamorous work. It changes you before it changes your circumstances. That is the part people miss. That is the part that makes people quit before the transformation becomes visible. Because the work changes you on the inside first, in ways that are not photographable, not postable, not immediately measurable by any external standard. It changes the quality of your thinking. It changes the speed and accuracy of your decision making. It changes your relationship with discomfort from adversarial to instructional. It changes your capacity to sustain effort through difficulty without collapsing into the excuse machine. It changes your identity from someone who wants the life to someone who is becoming the life, and only after sufficient internal change does the external world begin to reflect that transformation back to you. This is why people quit. because they do the work for 2 weeks or 2 months and they look around at their external circumstances and see no dramatic change, and they interpret that absence of visible result as evidence that the work is not working. But the work is always working. The compound interest of disciplined daily effort is always accumulating. The person is always changing, always growing, always moving, even when the external scoreboard is not yet updated to reflect the internal progress. You have to trust the process long enough for the process to produce its result. And trusting a process that offers no immediate validation requires a level of mental development that most people have never invested in building. This is also why your environment matters more than most people are willing to acknowledge. If you are surrounded by people who are comfortable with mediocrity, who celebrate the excuse, who normalize the avoidance of hard work, who make staying the same feel reasonable and safe, you are fighting a war on two fronts. You are fighting the internal resistance that every person faces on the journey toward growth, and you are fighting the external pressure of an environment that is actively pulling you back toward the level it is comfortable with. You cannot consistently do extraordinary work in an environment that is designed for ordinary living. You cannot maintain the mental standards required for real growth when every conversation around you is pulling those standards down. You cannot keep your vision clear when you are surrounded by people whose vision does not extend beyond the weekend. Protecting your mind means protecting your environment. It means being deliberate about what you allow in, what you allow to stay, and what you are willing to walk away from in the service of what you are building. That is not arrogance. That is not disloyalty. That is the most fundamental act of self-respect available to a person who is serious about their future. And I need to address something that is going to challenge some of you. Doing the work mentally means doing work that will make you uncomfortable in your own skin for a period of time. Because when you begin to develop your mind, when you begin to think at a higher level, when your standards begin to rise and your vision begins to expand and your capacity begins to grow, you will become a different person. And being a different person means you will no longer fit comfortably in the spaces the old version of you occupied. You will outgrow conversations. You will outgrow habits. You will outgrow relationships in some cases. You will feel like a stranger in familiar places. That feeling is not a sign that something is wrong. That feeling is the precise sensation of growth, of becoming, of the old version of you releasing its grip as the new version of you takes hold. Do not run back to the old version, because the new one feels unfamiliar. The unfamiliarity is temporary. The becoming is permanent. Do the work, not when you feel like it, not when the conditions are perfect, not when everyone around you understands and supports and validates what you are building. Do the work when you are tired. Do the work when the results are invisible. Do the work when the excuse machine is running at full capacity and every rational argument is suggesting that today is not the day. Today is always the day, because every day you do not do the work is a day you invest in staying broke mentally. And mental broke compounds just like discipline does. Every day you choose avoidance, the habit of avoidance deepens. Every day you choose the excuse machine becomes more sophisticated. Every day you choose comfort over growth, the gap between where you are and where you could be grows wider and the crossing feels more impossible. But here's the equally true flip side of that reality. Every day you choose the work, the capacity for work grows. Every day you choose discipline, the discipline becomes more natural. Every day you choose growth over comfort, the growth begins to feel like your new normal. Every day you invest in your mind, the mind develops new capabilities, new perspectives, new tools for navigating the challenges that were previously stopping you. The work works every single time, without exception. The only variable is whether you will do it long enough and consistently enough to experience its full effect. You have been broke long enough, mentally broke, living beneath your potential because the work of developing your mind and your discipline has been consistently postponed in favor of what is comfortable, what is familiar, what requires nothing new from you. That ends today, not because I am telling you it ends today, but because you are going to decide in the next few moments that the version of your life that is possible on the other side of doing the real work is worth more than the temporary comfort of continuing to avoid it. You are going to decide that your mind is worth the investment, that your potential is worth the discipline, that your future is worth the sacrifice of your present comfort. You are going to decide that broke in any form is no longer a condition you are willing to maintain, and then you are going to go do the work. We have walked through uncomfortable truths today. We have looked directly at the things most people spend their lives walking around, and everything we covered pointed to the same place. Mental poverty is the most expensive condition a human being can live in, and it is the only form of poverty that is entirely within your power to eliminate. Not with money, not with luck, not with better circumstances or more favorable timing. With work, Consistent, disciplined, invisible, unglamorous, deeply personal work that begins in the mind and eventually transforms every area of the life. The work nobody sees is the work that changes everything. Your private hours are the most accurate portrait of who you are actually becoming. The invisible disciplines you maintain or abandon are writing your future in ink that does not wash off. Discipline is the only bridge that closes the gap between the life you are living and the life you are capable of. Motivation is a feeling and therefore unreliable. Discipline is a choice and therefore available to you at any moment, regardless of how you feel. Your excuses are not protecting you from failure. They are imprisoning you in limitation. Every convincing reason you have generated for why the work cannot be done is simply your comfort negotiating against your future. And your future is always the one losing that negotiation. Consistency is the skill that separates the dreamers from the builders. Starting is never the problem. Continuing is where the character is revealed and the future is determined, and your mind is either your greatest asset or your most expensive liability, and the difference between those two outcomes is entirely determined by the quality and consistency of the work you invest in its development. All of it points to one instruction: do the work. Do it today. Do it in the hours where no one is watching. Do it when the feeling of motivation is absent and all that remains is a decision. Do it when your environment is not supporting it and you have to create the discipline that your surroundings are not providing. Do it when the results are invisible and faith in the process is the only fuel available. Do it when every excuse is present and every reason to stop feels legitimate. Do the work anyway, because on the other side of that work is a mind that can carry a life you have not yet been able to imagine from where you are currently standing. On the other side of that work is a version of you that your family will celebrate, that your future self will thank, that the world will be unable to ignore. You are not broke beyond repair. You are broke beyond your current effort. And effort is the one resource that is always available to you in unlimited supply, requiring nothing from the world and everything from the decision you make right now. Make the decision, do the work, and refuse from this moment forward to accept a mentally broke existence as your permanent address. Thank you genuinely from everything inside me. Thank you for choosing to spend this time here. Thank you for being the kind of person who seeks this kind of conversation rather than running from it. That instinct alone tells me that you have what it takes, that the work you need to do is within your reach, that the life you are capable of is closer than your current circumstances suggest. Go do the work that nobody sees and become the person that everybody notices. Go build the mind that builds the life. Go close the gap between the dreamer and the builder by choosing consistency over comfort, discipline over delay, and action over every excuse your mind has ever generated. You are not here by accident. This message found you because something in you is ready. Honor that readiness. Good luck. May every moment of invisible work you invest compound into visible transformation that exceeds everything you have been brave enough to imagine. May every discipline you build become the foundation of a life that reflects your true capacity. And may you look back on this moment, on this decision, as the day you stopped being broke in the way that actually matters and started doing the work that actually changes everything. Now go! The work is waiting, and so is the life on the other side of it.